Hey.
Welcome to a Wednesday night edition of the Barry Cunningham Show. We got a lot to go over today. I'm checking to make sure all the sound levels, everything's 5x5. We have a ton of stuff to go over today. I'm going to try and get you out of here early. I know Amazing Race and Survivor and the NFL schedule gets released around 8 o'clock, but we got some important stuff to go over. As you may know, as you may have heard, in case you were at work today, in case you were busy, maybe on the golf course or on the boat or doing something, they have agreed to do a debate. Tentatively have agreed to do a debate. Let's not say there's a debate yet because, as you know, and you're going to see, Joe waddled out there. He said what he had to say, wanted to throw down the gauntlet at Trump, and they agreed to do a debate, but what you're not seeing is all the underlying crap that's going on behind the scenes, which I'm going to lay out here for you, because right now, I was excited earlier in the day, and then I've become more reserved, more concerned about what I've been seeing happen, and it just seems to make me a little, I wouldn't say anxious. I understand, I trust Trump, I understand his team, they know what they're getting into, but I'm just going to lay this out for you and you tell me what you think. So the first thing I want to go over is the acceptance. The acceptance happened earlier this afternoon. Caroline Leavitt, Caroline is the 2024 National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. It says, in case you've missed it, President Trump has now committed to 3 debates with crooked Joe Biden on CNN, ABC, and Fox News. I haven't heard that mentioned any time today. I only heard the June date and the September date. I haven't heard the third one. It says, it is my great honor to accept the CNN debate against Crooked Joe, the worst president in the history of the United States and a true threat to democracy, on June 27th. Likewise, I accept the ABC News debate against Joe on September 10th. Then she wrote this one here, which I hadn't seen. Please let this truth serve to represent that I hereby accept debating Crooked Joe Biden on Fox News. That date will be Wednesday, October 2nd. The hosts will be Brett Baer and Martha McCallum. So it looks like we have 3 debates, but most of the media today are only talking about 2. We may only see 1 depending on how the first one goes. But he's saying from his camp, this is directly from the Trump camp, they're saying there are 3 debates that they're going to be doing. Interesting. CNN has already put out a tweet, says, just announced CNN will host a 2024 presidential debate between Biden and Trump in Atlanta, Georgia. The debate will air live on June 27th at 9 p.m. on CNN. I can tell you right now, it's also going to air live right here, so you can join me for the debate on June 27th. We're going to go live probably about 8:30 and start talking about what's going to be happening and what we're going to see if this thing ever happens. Why do you say if this thing ever happens? Well, then people started talking. This is from Molly Hemingway. Trump should demand that nobody he debates be allowed to use an earpiece, including the moderators. It would genuinely make the debate more fair and more interesting. Okay, so what she's saying there is obviously you don't want Biden wearing an earpiece and being fed the answers. At the same time, you don't want the moderators to be fed answers and questions and say, hey, go to Joe with this one on 1. Go to Joe on this one. And make sure you say it this way. because that's not fair as well. There's no way that you can actually have a fair debate if he's debating three people, if he's debating the moderators and he's debating Biden. Kyle Becker then dropped the rules. Unbelievable here. So here's what they've said thus far. I don't know if Trump has agreed to this. This happened later in the day. No live audience. Biden doesn't want any people there. Doesn't want anyone in the audience. Wants a completely stale environment. No RFK Jr. RFK is pissed. He's absolutely pissed that he's been banned. And that came from the Biden camp. They don't want RFK Jr. anywhere near this stage. I think that's a big mistake. Trump's mic muted when Biden speaks. So I understand he wrote Trump's mic muted. From what I understand, reading what's going on, they are going to mute the other party while the other one is talking. So while Biden is talking, Trump's microphone is going to be muted, and while the other way around, while Trump's talking, Biden's microphone is going to be muted. Let me just tell you something here. I don't have too much of a problem with that. Here's why. One, it will force Donald Trump to be more restrained, not just go off the cuff. He'll have to use his time very wisely to attack and go after Joe. Secondly, and more importantly, you don't bail Joe out. If they ask Joe a question and he gets up there and goes blah, 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 and spits all over his microphone, let him have it. Let him have his 2 minutes or however time they're going to give him. Let him have the time, especially if it's not choreographed, if it's not rehearsed, if it's truly live and he's hearing these questions for the first time. Yeah, sit back. Sit back and let Joe cook. I want to hear him form sentences. This is a guy who couldn't go through a 14-second video with 51 words of copy without having to cut it 6 times. 7 times. Some people say 8. I don't know if I counted 6 or 8 myself, but he couldn't get through 14 seconds of video, 51 words without having to cut it. So why is that important? That means he was looking at a teleprompter and he could only go, today it's blue skies outside. Okay, so what do I say next? Oh, and it might be sunny all day. And what they did is they cut that to make it look like it was a fluid conversation when basically it wasn't. It was Joe saying something, maybe 4 or 5 words, and then cut and punch in so it looks like he's still talking. And then he goes back, and yeah, I had a race car today. So it looks fluid when it really isn't. And that doesn't even count to how many takes he took. Let's continue. Now, this was a Biden demand, so I was kind of confused when I saw the Trump camp's tweet. It says, no Fox News. They do not want Fox News involved. Will there be that third debate on October 2nd? This is another thing that they're going to have to agree to. They don't want Fox involved whatsoever. CNN will announce the moderators. So they're going to have to force Trump to agree to have whoever CNN wants to moderate this debate. Is it any surprise a candidate that would blank elections would also blank debates? I can't say it on YouTube, but you guys can read it right there. And yes, they are basically doing whatever they can to make it easier for Joe. Clay Travis, who takes a Rush Limbaugh spot on radio, says, if you were truly going to do a fairly moderated presidential debate, you'd have MSNBC and Fox each pick a single debate moderator, and every question from Fox News would go to Biden, and every question from MSNBC would go to Trump. Would love that. That way you know for sure that the question being asked has not been given to the candidate in advance. They'll never do that. They will never agree to that. So there's always going to be this suspect, this air of wonder. Is Biden being given the questions? Remember, Donna Brazile has already admitted and then basically got bounced off of CNN because she admitted that she gave up questions to, I think it was either Hillary or was it Joe, but she gave the questions in advance. So it does happen. So then I saw this by Vivek Ramaswamy, who we know is close to Trump, possibly a presidential candidate, which I would love to see him debate Kamala Harris. That's a whole different conversation. That one I'd probably, in addition to popcorn, would probably, break out a few beers, because that would be some serious entertainment. I mean, just serious entertainment. I mean, Kamala Harris, are you kidding me? That would indeed be... that would definitely be a... Oh, and let me remind you, this is all free tonight. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you taking your time. I do have one fee that I ask all of you guys to do, and that's
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
And get your friends in here. All right, so here's what Vivek said. Call me cynical, but why is Biden suddenly so willing to do a debate? It could be because he's desperate. Yep. Or it could be because it's a setup. And that's what got me thinking this afternoon. This came out at 5:13 p.m., as you can see. And it made me sit back for the last hour or so and go, could he be walking into a trap? Because keep an eye on the details of how all of this comes together. You don't often see a sudden 180 like this unless there's more to the story. Excuse me. You don't often see a complete 180 unless there's more to the story. Obviously, the internal polls, that's been problematic. We know that's been problematic. But how do you go from not wanting to debate this guy to agreeing to 3 debates and then throwing out this challenge video this morning like he did? Kind of suspect. And then this came out, and my jaw dropped. My jaw absolutely dropped. CNN has announced that Jake Tapper and Dana Bash will moderate the first presidential debate. What do you say about that? I mean, Jake Tapper, who has for years, I mean, I'm going all the way back to 2016 when I interacted with him on Twitter and called him out for some stuff. He has hated Trump for a long time. Dana Bash, she tries to get cutesy, but she'll be the first one to tell Trump, that's a conspiracy theory. Let's not go there. Oh no, you don't have any evidence to back that up. Hey, you're supposed to answer the questions and shut up. You're supposed to ask the questions and let me and Joe talk. You're not supposed to be Joe's policeman, unless you're going to police Joe as well. If he says something like, the inflation rate was 9% when I took office, then you need to jump all over him and say, nah, Joe, we looked that up and that's fake. Okay, you're lying. It was only 1.4%. But what are the chances of that actually happening? What are the chances that they will correct Biden as forcefully as they will Donald Trump? I don't have any faith in that happening whatsoever. So with what Vivek said, that does concern me. So I want to take a few questions or responses from you guys and let me know, are you suspect about this? Do you think it's okay and on the up and up? Or do you think that Trump may be walking into a trap? Obviously the guy's smart, he's got a smart team. Don't they realize he's walking into a potential trap? Let's see what you got to say. All Trump has got to say, let me make sure my thing is working. Boom. Okay, you notice I fixed the images as well. All Trump got to say is Google it. Absolutely. No Tapper or Dana. If he agrees to it, that'll be something. I just can't fathom that he would go ahead and agree to that. That just drives me crazy. Shar West says she believes it's a trap. Tapper is the real fake news. Robert Cullen says, yeah, everything's working here. Anthony Vono said Trump should not agree to these parameters. I don't know what stage they are at this point and who's agreed to what, but it just seems to me that the more this thing evolved throughout the day, the less faith I had in the entire process, the less I had in terms of it coming off good for Trump. It just doesn't seem that way. Wayne Root, I'm not sure what this means. Wayne Root, my message to President Trump, the debates are a trap. Something is wrong. Drug test Biden. Yeah. Now understand, the bar is so low for Joe Biden. Basically, Joe has to be on stage. Oh, let me talk about that, be on stage. By having it in a studio with no people in the audience, that disinfected environment is something that works better for Joe. You know how at the beginning of most debates, the candidates walk across the stage, shake hands, and then go to their respective podiums? Well, that's not going to happen. It's going to open with them already standing there, meaning people are not going to see Joe Biden walk feebly across the stage, so much shorter than an imposing Donald Trump, and have to shake hands. They're not going to see any of that. They're not going to see him waddle across and maybe not know where he's supposed to go. They're trying to eliminate that, so they're just going to bring him out, stick him behind a podium, say, stand here, don't friggin' move, and, wave like you're at Chuck E. Cheese. Trap. That's a trap to me. Eric Darkheart says it's a trap. Barbara Hickerson says that Trump can handle whatever they throw at him. I think that Trump can handle everything they throw at him. My concern is it going to allow Biden to be hidden? Are they going to be able to hide Biden? Are they going to keep him so inoculated, keep him out of all those situations that, I can't imagine that they're going to cut away during bathroom breaks. I know one thing that Trump was a stickler on. He said the entire debate has to be standing. He doesn't want them sitting at a table. He doesn't want them sitting in lounge chairs. You got to stand up for 2 hours. You're the president of the United States. You want to be the continued president of the United States. You got to stand up and show people you've got the virility to actually stand there for 2 hours. You did it for the State of the Union. Who knows what you were on? There was no drug test before the State of the Union, but you're going to have to do that and more at the debate. No. Hey, villain, how you doing? No audience means there will be a teleprompter. There can't be a teleprompter. There is no way that Trump would allow there to be a teleprompter in that room. If there's no people, it's going to be very easy to see what else is out there. And he can't have, like I have right now, I've got an earpiece so I can hear these videos. There's no way he can have an earpiece. I don't know if you got to have Secret Service pat him down, make sure he's not wired, make sure he's not got one of those, CIA type earpieces. Trump should bring in a signal jammer to make sure that nothing is getting through, because they're going to try anything to make Joe look good. So I don't like this at all. This is a good question by Wilma. Wilma says, why can't they have one Republican moderator like Sean Hannity and one Democrat moderator? That would be more fair. That's what Clay Travis was saying. Hey, listen, let the Republican moderator ask questions of Joe, let the Democrat moderator ask questions of Trump. That seems absolutely fair. They'll never do it. That tells me trap. I could be over-exaggerating, I can be over-anxious, but something that just doesn't make sense here. Not something at all. No teleprompter is more reason for Biden to mess up. But we can't consider success Biden messing up. See, that's where I think we trip up. If we think that we're going to win the debate because of his failings, that's never going to happen. Everybody on CNN, everybody in every newscast is going to tell us how. You watched what's happening with this Michael Cohen thing. It's like watching two different movies. Everybody on CNN and MSNBC is talking about how great Stormy did and how great Michael Cohen did and how he wasn't impugned, how they couldn't pierce him. He told a great narrative and he didn't. He lied. He was caught lying a couple times. But you wouldn't know that from watching those stations. So they're going to say, Joe, you can count on it right now. Joe did fine. Joe did fantastic. The day after debate, he would have just about walked on water as far as they're concerned. Ooh, here's a good one. Barry Cunningham, AI could come into play. Another thing I've heard they want to do is they want to have a 10-second delay. For what? I don't know. That doesn't sound right, but what you're saying here, AI could come into play. What if they had a 10-second delay and then they put AI on the stream so it automatically took out certain gaffes that Biden made? Is this tinfoil hat territory? Probably. But can we say that they won't do it given what we've seen them do over the last, 8 years. They need this. They have to have this. As one of the guys said, and you're going to see in the video, I think it was Lawrence Jones this morning, is that at this point they've pushed all in. Biden is their candidate. There is no cavalry coming for them. So at this point, they're going to have to do anything they can to protect him and bolster him as well. Too cheap for society says, I hope security is high. That's one thing I am very confident that Trump will make sure. Hallmark says, I'd say if this debate happens and Joe is talking sensible, someone rip off Biden's mask. That someone is wearing a Joe Biden mask. I already think he's got a body double or two already. Some of the stuff doesn't make any sense at all. I have heard and seen ChatGPT videos of Biden. With a 10-second delay, can they insert something? Sure. Would they? I don't know. It could be, but another person says Biden will be deep faked. Joe Biden is not real. White hats using actor Arthur Roberts. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff this guy's talking about with Arthur Roberts, the actor, and it's been crazy. So what's really funny is that right after Joe made his video, which we're gonna watch, I mean, immediately after Joe made his video. And it tells me that this was all planned. One of the Biden campaign people immediately got on CNN. So he was pre-booked. He didn't rush over to the studio. They knew, hey, we're going to drop this at 9:01, at 9:10, you need to go on CNN. And listen to the crap that he spews right here. This has all been their plan all along.
It should be, yes, in studio with no audience so that the candidates can clearly articulate their vision for the country. Free
is an audience a deal breaker? Is an audience a deal breaker for you?
Listen, it's Donald Trump who said he would do this anytime, anywhere, any place. So I don't think that they should have any problems with.
Okay. Donald Trump said anywhere, anytime, any place. He didn't say anywhere, anytime, any place, gagged and bound. You see how slyly they've shifted that narrative real quick? Hey, he said anytime, anywhere, any place. Yes, he did. He would go there anytime, anywhere, any place. But now you guys are putting in different rules. And you did it in a choreographed fashion. There's no way this guy should have been on the air at 9:42 on a video that dropped at 9:10 or so. Shouldn't have happened. They had this all planned. This guy was scheduled to go on CNN this morning. Says Biden campaign offers to debate Trump under certain conditions. Funny. You had a video. You had a chance to tell people that there was an asterisk to what Joe said. You could have said, hey, Joe, make my day. I'm going to kick your butt. But wait. Only if you agree to my terms and conditions. No, your video didn't say that. His video didn't say that. His video said, I beat you once and twice, and now I'm going to beat your butt again. So if you think you're cool, I know you can't come on Wednesdays. What a piece of crap. What an absolute piece of crap. He's flaunting the lawfare in Trump's face. You're going to hear that in a second. But anyway, this piece of crap as well goes on immediately after the announcement and starts saying it's Trump's fault if this debate doesn't happen because he already said anytime, anywhere, any place. That's a bunch of crap.
What we have proposed. He's the one who said he's ready to go. So we should be set to go once we have proposals in from networks.
Once we have proposals in from networks. And then, boom, CNN right away had their proposal in. Don't tell me this wasn't choreographed. Drop the video at 9:05, 9:10. Get on CNN, tell them, it's Trump's fault this doesn't happen. Okay, and then, boom, get the proposal back from CNN. They turned it around with legal and everything that fast. And CNN echoed what he just said. No audience, cut mics, do all that kind of stuff. And that all happened before Trump even knew, before Trump even responded. So this was a choreographed announcement. It wasn't just something that Biden just posted after he ate his oatmeal and 2 scoops of ice cream. He came out and said it, knowing what was coming next. And boom, 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 everything fell in place. And Trump accepted it, but I don't know if he's going to accept all these terms. I hope he's got everybody looking deep as to all the what ifs. What if could happen? What is this that could happen? So I want to get into a video that I dropped earlier today. And it's going to look funny because I'm sitting here talking to you at the same time as this video is playing. But we're going to get through this and we're going to talk through it. And I'll cut in and out because some of you guys may not have seen this video that I put out about noon or so today. So let's take a look at this. And cut to it. Cut to the video. Cut to the video. Live TV. And okay. All right, here we go. Ready? Go.
It should be, yes, in studio with no audience so that the candidates can clearly articulate their vision for the country.
Is an audience a deal breaker? Is an audience a deal breaker for you?
Breaking news into the Fanfare news feed.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Well, we got a bit of breaking news this morning. Woke up and saw this story and I was like, wow, the old man must have had 2 scoops of ice cream with his oatmeal this morning. He had the balls to waddle out in front of a teleprompter and challenge Donald Trump to not 1, but 2 debates. The internal poll numbers that the Biden camp must be seeing must be so absurdly bad that they realize the only chance they have is to get out there and confront Trump. All right, so Liveberry here, and let me prove that. Boom, Liveberry. That's what I believe. I believe that the poll numbers are so bad. Like James Carville, when he was scratching his head, we got to do something. We're desperate. The panic button is hit. What are we going to do to enable Joe to make up some ground? So we'll fake this debate stuff. We'll pretend like Joe all of a sudden is going to play badass and he's going to take on Trump. I don't think it's going to work. He told him, get your tired ass out there. We're going to have to debate Trump. But does Dementia Joe realize they don't have teleprompters at a debate? As someone who makes a ton of videos, I noticed something very troubling about Dementia Joe's challenge video. In a 14-second video, they had 6 different cuts to get him through it. He only spoke 51 words and they had to cut it 6 times to get him through it. Check it out. I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to show you every single cut that they had to make to allow Joe to get through 14 seconds, 51 words of copy. Watch this. And he's talking, whoop. Cut number 1, cut number 2, cut number 3, cut number 4, cut number 5, and cut number 6. 6 cuts get through 51 words in 14 seconds. Now, me, I'm live again. That many cuts, it's just unheard of. Just imagine for yourself, can you make a sentence or a couple sentences and talk for 14 seconds? Just imagine yourself looking into a camera, coming up with a thought and saying, I'm going to talk for 14 seconds. Would you need to have 6 or 7 cuts to get through that? Well, of course not. The average person could memorize 51 words. Especially, they probably took 2 or 3 weeks to get that script down that he could actually do that. 14 seconds, 51 words, and they had to keep cutting and cutting and cutting. Shows there's a problem with his ability to keep a cohesive thought even for as little as 14 seconds and 51 words. And this guy wants to have a debate? No, I'm sorry. And this guy wants to have 2 debates? Are you kidding me? Oh, this is gonna be fun. I can't wait till these debates happen. I'll go live, we'll broadcast it, and we'll just have a whole bunch of fun. Bring your popcorn. And unless these debates are on someplace like MSNBC, where they give Dementia Joe's team some pre-rehearsed questions, this guy is toast. Now, see, that's my problem. With this debate happening on CNN, and we already know they've been proven to cheat even on debates. They have already been proven to give the other person the questions. I don't have any faith that somehow, somewhere, somebody is going to slip Joe the questions. It may not matter. I mean, think about it that way as well, is in his condition, if you got the questions on Monday, by Tuesday he would probably forget what the questions were. So I don't know how they're going to do it, what they're going to do, give him an IV, give him a drip, whatever they're going to do, Red Bull, Adderall. What are they going to give Joe to get him through this thing, even if they do get the questions? And I think maybe that's what Trump may be thinking about. He may be thinking to himself, well, even if he gets the questions, is he going to be able to answer them coherently? Remember, everyone points to the State of the Union. At the State of the Union, he had a teleprompter, or two, or three, that he could turn to and read and keep going and read and keep going. It's a script. Even if you know the question, you have to formulate the answer even if you know it in advance. If I said to you, tell me the first two lines of the Star-Spangled Banner, you could probably say it because you have the cognitive ability that even if I caught you on the spot and said, tell me the first two lines of the Star-Spangled Banner, you can probably say, oh, say, can you, blah, blah, right? You can do it. I don't know if they even told Joe and said, hey, listen, we're going to ask you to sing, or not sing, but speak the first two lines of the national anthem. Prove you're an American as well. All right? So that's a question. And Joe's probably going to go, what's the words? Well, okay, let's sit down. You ready? Oh, say, can you see? All right? By the dawn's early light. Okay, Joe, you got that? Got it. Tomorrow. All right, Joe, let's practice. What are the first two lines of the Star-Spangled Banner? I don't know. There's no way he's going to remember it. There's no teleprompter. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what Trump's idea is, that without something in his ear, without teleprompter, without the moderators helping, Joe may be stuck just to be a bumbling, stumbling mess up there. Thought on this is that it's a ruse. It's a way for him to look like a tough guy, show some virility, get out there, want to take on Donald Trump, make my day, a Clint Eastwood style thing, when they know he cannot stand toe-to-toe with Trump. But not only can he not stand toe-to-toe with Trump, he's not even going to have to walk across the stage. At the beginning of a debate, in a normal debate, the two candidates walk across the stage, they meet, they shake hands, and they go back to their respective corners. That's not going to happen. They may not even shake hands. They may just do a salute or something, because once they have Joe put in his spot, once Joe is there, they're probably going to tell him, don't friggin' move. Until Jill comes out, you don't move. If you got to pee during a commercial break, don't worry. Jill's going to come get you. You just got to stay here and look like a marionette. Don't leave. Watch. Watch what happens. And of course, CNN will cut away as soon as that happens. Hey, we're going to be right back for more right after this quick break. Boof. And you will not see Jill come out and usher him off and usher him back in. They are going to hide him. Let's continue. They're hoping that the media can rally around him, and you guys, good luck with that. Oh, and did you notice how this sick man basically goaded Trump for being in trial because of Dementia Joe's administration's lawfare that they're going after Trump with? It is absolutely sick. Now, in addition to goading him, yes, I am live again, in addition to goading him, I'm not sure because probably none of you guys go there, but on the official campaign website, not only did he goad him in that video, they are selling t-shirts. They are selling t-shirts that say, free on Wednesdays, to further antagonize and basically stick it to Trump and make a joke of what they're putting him through. It's absolutely sick and disgusting. Absolutely sick and disgusting. And Joe, I'm going to show you in a second, Joe worried about revenge and retribution. Dude, you earned it. Thought it was funny. Or somebody who wrote the words that Joe spoke thought that was funny. But I think you stepped into it, Joe. Here was Trump's immediate response. Crooked Joe Biden is the worst debater I have ever faced. He can't put two sentences together. Crooked is also the worst president in the history of the United States. By far. It's time for a debate so that he can explain to the American people his highly destructive open border policy, his new and ridiculous EV mandates, the allowance of crushing inflation, high taxes, and his really weak foreign policy, weak in capital letters, which is allowing the world to, quote, catch on fire. I am ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the 2 proposed times in June and September. Joe's team already set out some, guidelines that they want to see followed for these debates to happen. I would strongly recommend more than 2 debates, and for excitement purposes, a very large venue. Although Biden is supposedly afraid of crowds, that's only because he doesn't get them. Just tell me when, I'll be there. Let's get ready to rumble. Oh, all right, so they've decided that they're going to have 3 debates. I don't know, that was something his campaign put out there. But something he said in that tweet also caught my eye. Now, I don't know how many of you watching this video have ever had to deal with a relative that has dementia or Alzheimer's. They do not want to be in a large public space. They don't do well when there's a lot of noise and a lot of people and a lot of distractions going on. They are trying to obviously hide Joe and protect him from being completely distracted from bells and whistles. So you say to yourself, well, he talked in front of 400 people at the State of the Union. Now understand this. There were 400 people at the State of the Union, many of whom he actually probably has known, and he probably picked out a face here or there. And plus, he had 3 teleprompters, back of the room and 2 on the podium. It's a lot different. I can breathe easy. I've got some protection. I got some comfort here. I'm not going to have that same comfort when I go to an auditorium or a venue filled with screaming people clapping for Donald Trump, going nuts for Donald Trump, calling me out when I speak BS. That's not going to work for someone in Joe's condition. Joe would not be able to handle somebody over there screaming, "You're lying," or "FJB." Not going to happen. It would completely make him lose it. Make him completely lose it. He'll be so disoriented by people screaming or yelling, especially if they're yelling expletives at him. Can you imagine during a debate somebody jumped up and said FJB, what he would do? I can't even imagine. Or 2 or 3, or if they did like Free Palestine. They're trying to keep him in a bubble, an absolute cocoon, trying to keep him. So before I go further, let's take a few comments here. Hey, AC guy, man, you've been around. Thank you for showing up again. People won't feel sorry for him either because that time came and went. Yeah, you're probably right. Joe, we hate you. Why? Because you've destroyed America and its people with your disgusting agenda. He probably doesn't even know. He probably, like I said, he probably just gets told what to say, where to go, and how to say it, and that's it. Charles Blakely, by having the debt, the Democrats are cutting their losses with the debate. They're cutting their losses with Joe Biden. He has fulfilled himself as the puppet of the Democratic Party. I said that too. At this point, maybe he is the sacrificial lamb. Maybe they're saying at this point, it's mid-May. You're making a good point. At this point, it's mid-May. So you're talking 6 months, which basically the way that the cycle for economic news comes out in terms of quarterly reports for different things, the job statistics, the CPI for inflation. There's only going to be 1 or 2 more of those reports. And it's not going to change. It's not like you or I can go on a diet today, which the wife is putting me on, and I can lose 10 pounds in 2 or 3 weeks. I can see that progress because I can stop eating certain things and start exercising, and that can happen because I'm one individual. This thing called America isn't something you can flip a light switch on and off. This thing here takes a lot of momentum to change. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of different moving pieces. And at this point, it may be too late to change. It may be too late for anything to really happen. You only have 6 months. you're not going to see interest rates drop back down to 2 or 3%. Can't happen. You're not going to see gas prices go down to $2. In fact, Gavin Newsom is trying to raise it 50 cents a gallon. Can't happen. You've drained the reserves. There's no gas there. There's no way if you said, you know what, we need to start drilling today. Good luck. If you started drilling today, that gas isn't getting to the pumps in time to make a difference in the election. Well, what can I do about, food prices? Well, those people who raise chickens and make, bring the eggs in and then have to truck that to market, again, you can't make, it's not a switch you can flip tomorrow. They're not going to walk into the store and change all the prices back to where they were 2 years ago. Can't happen. Red Lobster just announced they're closing 50 plus restaurants. It can't be changed that quickly. So what I mean by this is the available candidates who would step in to take Joe's place at this point couldn't happen. Nobody's going to want to step into this mess because I'm like, wait, you want me to just... And on top of that, in order for someone to step in, you're going to have to step over Kamala Harris. So if you think the black vote is diminishing now, if you think that the female vote is diminishing now, you go ahead and put somebody ahead of Kamala Harris and see what would happen. At this point, they are stuck. It's Joe or bust, which means that desperation could become kind of dangerous for us all. They're going to get even more desperate. Oh, in a rumble, it will be. And then I saw this clip on Fox News where Sean Hannity was talking about the debate, and he pretty much had the same feeling that I did. It's a sign of desperation. It's a Hail Mary. Let's take a look at what Hannity said.
Fox News alert, President Biden speaking out on social media about taking on Donald Trump on the debate stage. The Biden campaign proposing 2 face-offs before early voting begins, one in June and the other in September. Vice presidential debate in July after the RNC. All of this after...
Oh, vice presidential debate. Please get somebody like Tulsi Gabbard or Tucker Carlson or Vivek Ramaswamy to go up against Kamala Harris. Please. That will be must-see TV. Now, I said Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi, Ron DeSantis, Charlie McCarthy's dummy. Anybody going up against Kamala Harris would be just must-see TV. She knows nothing. She would be a giggling ball of mess. And I don't even think the moderators could help her. She would be exposed. And so whoever Trump ends up picking as the VP, Doug Bargum is his name, Vivek, Ron DeSantis, not Nikki, Tulsi. I mean, whoever you pick is going to shred Kamala Harris. Now, if I know that, and you know that, then they know that as well, which means this entire thing may be a charade. They understand if things are bad now, and Joe does this first debate, and it doesn't go extremely well, I don't mean okay, if it doesn't go extremely well for Joe, do you think they're going to expose Kamala in between? I don't think so. My God, I couldn't even imagine what that'll be like.
Trump's criminal trial ends here in New York.
The great Sean Hannity joins us right now. So, Sean, to deliver this message, it took them 6 cuts to get the president's answer.
Everybody has now noticed that. 6 cuts in 14 seconds to deliver 51 words. That is absurd.
To say yes to Donald Trump. Is he ready?
LJ, let me tell you something. This made my day. This made my morning. This is great news if you're Donald J. Trump today for a lot of reasons. And if I was President Trump, I'd say, why not make it June, July, August, September?
Yeah.
Let's have 4.
Now, it's funny because Trump did say that. Trump said, let's do 1 a month. There's no reason why we can't get on stage and have a debate every single month. June, July, August, September, October. Let's just do 1 a month. Of course they're not going to agree to that. There is no possible way they could bring out that kind of frequency. So what Trump will do, Trump will just have his rallies. fine with him.
Or Joe, really?
I completely agree. Have as many as possible. Get him out in front of the American people every single month. As more and more data comes out about unemployment and inflation and the numbers at the border, they're not going to change. Get them out there every single month, but there's no way they're going to do that.
Really make my day. You want to have a debate? Let's have debates. And I think this is phenomenal news for a couple of reasons. One, I think that Donald Trump will wipe the floor with him. And I don't care if we get the State of the Union jacked up Joe with caffeine, Red Bull, or what.
You know how sad that is that he's saying that something that everybody knows is that our president, we have to call him our president at this point, in order to get through a debate in some, like the State of the Union, some of his speeches, everybody knows that somewhere backstage or before the event, they're having to juice up this guy to even speak. How about a drug test before the debate? I completely want to see a drug test. I know it will never happen. There is no way. If you saw the State of the Union, you understand when he comes out on stage, the day before he couldn't say sentences. The day before he was slurring his words. Then, of course, remember the night of the State of the Union. I'm not sure if you remember. I'm going to bring it back to you. You can go check. He was like an hour and a half late. They tried to blame it on protesters in the street in Washington, but it wasn't that. They had people on the street showing, no, it looks pretty much clear. Why aren't you here? An hour and a half late. This guy was doing something back behind the scenes. Maybe his IV didn't get all the way through. I'm not saying fake news. I'm giving an opinion. There's something not right. And this guy, think about it this way. This was funny. I was talking to my wife earlier today. How much can they even manipulate him at this point? He came out the other day and said what? He said that the inflation was 9% when he took office. Everybody skewered him. Left media skewered him. Right media skewered him. Everybody said, Joe, that's a lie. What did he do 2 days later? He said it again. It was like it was implanted in his mind. He was walking through a crowd or up on stage, whatever, and he just said it again. So even though he's got the best pharmaceuticals in the world, even though he's being prepped to no end, they couldn't get him to stop saying 9% inflation. He got comfortable with it. It stuck in his mind. And even if they told him the night before, don't say 9% again, he can't get it out of his head. Yeah, it's 9%. Joe, okay, don't say 9% anymore. Okay, I promise I won't say it's 9%. When I took over, it was 9%. He just can't even remember simple commands like that. That's how bad it is right now. So I don't know what kind of teaching they're going to be able to do with him when he's out there free-forming it on a debate stage. Love to see that. How about a drug test for both candidates? Have it right before the debate. You basically have to make sure you're clean, like they do at the Olympics. Make sure you're not under doping rules or anything like that. There's no way Joe can do a 2-hour debate without having some sort of foreign substance in his body.
Ever. Or we get regular Joe that could barely walk off the stage last night. I think it's a great opportunity. Also, he proposed a format that I think is extraordinarily favorable for the president, which is if you're not talking, your mic's not on. I think one of the difficulties in 2020 is
maybe Sean Hannity should take that to his own show because he's always talking over people.
Probably Donald Trump in that first debate was too aggressive. This will then kind of put, rails in place so that one person talks at a time. And the more Joe talks, I think the worse he does.
Mm-hmm. And that is so true. The more they allow Joe to talk without the moderators prompting him, just let him talk and see what happens. Name the Father, Son, and the rest of the other thing. He can't go through things free form. They're going to catch him. Do me a favor, guys, if you have a chance.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
Let's continue.
Here's what's really happening, though, in my mind behind the scenes. I've known James Carville, for example, for many, many years. I've debated him many times around the country. I actually love the guy. He's so fun to be around. He's smart. Don't ever underestimate him. And his most recent video that I saw, he was angry. Everything we are throwing up against Donald Trump is not working.
And Trump's more ahead than he's ever been. Fewer people think January 6th was any kind of what it was, as an assault on the temple of democracy, our Constitution. I don't know whatever the fuck you want to say. It's going the wrong way. It's not working. Everything that we're throwing is spaghetti at a wall, and none of it is sticking, me included. And it's hard when you start in your 80th year, and you know, like anybody else, I have an opinion of myself. The opinion I've come to is, I don't matter. It doesn't matter. You can prepare, you can be on TV, or you can write pieces, you can have a YouTube channel, you can have a podcast, and nothing. You know, we gotta try to think of something different, because what we're doing is really, really not working.
So he's furious when he's saying this. I know him well. He's pretty angry.
I love when he scratched his head. Man, it's just not working. We've got a corpse running for president. What are we gonna do?
And he's been basically a voice in the wilderness telling the Democratic Party that this guy is really not fit for office. David Axelrod, again, not a dumb guy, has been saying the same thing. Van Jones, in his way, has been saying it. Maureen Dowd's been saying it. These are prominent Democratic voices.
And see, they're not alone. These people, I understand there's a troll in here, which I'll try and get. I don't have any moderators. I do this myself. I'm not a big operation here. If I see somebody, I'll go ahead and bounce them. But in other words, it's very hard for me to see when that happens. Anyway, it just seems very weird that James Carville, as old as he is, he's been around. Axelrod, been around. These guys know the business of politics. They understand full well, shit ain't working. We need to do something different. Now, if Biden's team just doesn't want to listen, that's one thing. But I think what you saw today was the culmination of Jen Psaki and Axelrod and Carville, probably the Clintons, maybe the Obamas, all saying, you got to get your ass out there and debate him, because we can't help you.
So, what do we have here? We have a situation where nothing that they've been saying about Donald Trump has been working.
Nothing. Not even these court cases. And in fact, if they go ahead and try and convict him on this sham in New York, it's only going to get worse. You know, one of the things I'm thinking that somehow the Biden camp has gotten word from Judge Merchan that we're going to find him guilty. We're going to convict him. And they're coming out saying, yeah, we're going to do these debates, because they already know that the fix is in with the court case, so that they can go into the debates, because the appeal wouldn't have gone through that fast, and that the debates they can say, hey, yeah, listen, well, you're a convicted felon. You know, you've got all these problems. You've been convicted by a jury of your peers, and you expect to be president. Count on that. I almost think that's in the books. I think they've got it where they want it. I think Judge Merchan is someone who's as corrupt as it comes. I think this jury is fixed. I think even though no crime has been basically told to the jury, they're still going to convict him. And when they convict him, that's going to give them something to use in the media, and they're going to pound it, and they're going to pound it, and they're going to pound it, and then he's going to say it in the debates, and you know what? It still won't work. They don't. So what do you guys think? This is Library again. I really think the fix is in. There is no way that, I mean, tomorrow I guess that they're going back in court at 9:30. Am my mic's on? Yes. They're going to be going back into court at 9:30. When they go in, they're going to begin questioning Michael Cohen again. They're going to question him all day. They're going to beat this guy to death. Today there was a House hearing where they got his former attorney to basically tell in open session in front of Jim Jordan that he lied, that he concocted the entire thing. And a lot of people didn't understand. Let me just make sure something. A lot of people didn't understand. Why would Michael Cohen spend $130,000 of his own money? That's an easy question for a reasonable person to understand. Michael Cohen stood to make, if he got into the White House, if he thought he was going to be in the White House, he was going to make millions. Obviously, he would sell whatever he could sell. He would get in there. He would do his deals. He would have been one of the worst people for the country. He would have been doing backdoor deals with other countries. And he would have made millions, tens of millions. $130,000 to ensure your future is chump change. Absolute chump change. I would have spent it if I was him in that position. Luckily, Trump knew not to bring him in. But in any event, I think New York is going to convict Trump. I think it's fixed. I think the judge is corrupted. I think the jury was stacked. And I think maybe that's why Biden agreed to this debate. It may all be a sham. They may already know or gotten word that the jury is set to go to drop the hammer on Trump so that Biden can then say, I'm not going to debate a convicted felon. Nope, not going to do it. And they're going to hope that the numbers are going to change. So what do you guys think? Beach Life says, I think so too. Erica, Kathleen says, I've been fighting the good and just fight against these lying fraud slobs for 16 years straight in New York. Yeah. Do you think Israel can't wait for Trump to take office? Oh, of course, Bibi for sure. Pat, I agree with you. The trial so far has shown no crime, but does that even matter at this point? Does it even matter that what this jury will do? It should go to a directed verdict and be tossed out, but you can almost guarantee he's not going to do that. They have nothing to convict Trump with. 100% agree with you, except that it doesn't matter. If this jury, depending on what Merchan gives them as their instructions, they may just say, okay, he's guilty, but I hope not. Who's Larry? I haven't seen Larry here. Larry, you're being brainwashed and all the media. Fox is more relevant and a lot more ethical. So probably. So Jeffrey Henshaw says that's what I think as well. Oh, this is a good one. Says here, 2 jurors are lawyers, and for Trump to be recorded and released without consent breaks attorney-client privilege. I completely agree with you. No debate. That should end it for them. The number of lies should end it for them. But we have seen lawyers on MSNBC and CNN who don't care, who would completely look the other way in order to get Trump out of this race. George Conway, who's Kelly Conway's husband, is a lawyer. All these guys who were involved in lawfare, Mark Elias, they're all lawyers. They would do whatever it took to get Trump out of the way. So just being a lawyer, I don't think is going to be enough. Just don't think everything's enough. Let's see here. No crime, no conviction. That's what we're hoping for. Sandra says absolutely fixed from day one. Erica, I can't put your comment on screen, but I agree with you 100%. Somebody says here, I like your show, but you're wrong. I like being wrong. Wrong helps me improve. Tell me what you think I'm wrong about. If you just wrote that much, that doesn't really say anything, does it? So tell me what you think I'm wrong about. You think that they're going to get him off? If that's what you're saying I'm wrong about, then I completely would hope that. But I just haven't seen this judge show any scruples yet whatsoever. Trump will wipe the floor with Brandon. Yep. Fake news. The dishonest media, they're lying. They used to love me on The Apprentice. Yeah, exactly. And he was in the movie Home Alone as well. So if I'm wrong about something, we can talk. I didn't bounce you, didn't delete you. Tell me what I'm wrong about. Let's continue. I don't realize that. They can't win with this guy, and they think by convicting him, that's going to make a difference.
The lie about the economy being great is laughable because 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. For 3 years, we heard the border is secure and the border is closed. Now they want to blame Donald Trump. That's not working.
He wants to raise taxes to 44%. I just saw something yesterday where Gavin Newsom wants to add a 50-cent per gallon gas tax in California. None of this makes sense. So there has to be something where they think they're going to get him convicted and they're going to use that, because I don't see how he can defend any of his policy.
The disaster, which is Joe Biden surrendering in the war on terror and abandoning our ally Israel.
And I meant that, what I just said. So I know one of the guys said I was wrong, but what I mean by that is there is nothing policy-wise he can say in this debate that would be of any benefit to him. I want to raise your taxes to 44%. Gas prices through the roof. Mortgage interest rates way higher. Inflation off the charts. Grocery prices up 30%. He has no foundation. What's he going to talk about? That one thing that they care about most in terms of removing kids, and I can't even say it on YouTube, but I think you know. Those issues are way, way down. And then this morning, I cannot believe that Blinken went over to Ukraine, played guitar in a bar, filmed it, posted it, and then today said they're going to go ahead and cancel their elections. When did it become policy for the United States to cancel other countries' elections? How is that okay? Did we buy that country? Do we now own it? And don't think for an instant that he didn't know what that video of him playing guitar and hanging out in a bar was going to make people think. They're rubbing it in your face. There weren't any Secret Service men on stage, weren't any soldiers with guns on stage. He's playing guitar and singing a song in a bar in another country that's supposedly at war, and didn't care that you saw the video. In fact, said, I don't care if you see the video. This is what we're all about. We just bought this other country. I want to say thank you to Santa Monica Mike. Here's a war on the good people of the world. There is, absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. I don't see them all. I'm going to get a moderator because this kind of exploded on me. I didn't see all this, but it's crazy. Let's continue.
By the way, really responsible for a quid pro quo, the very thing that they impeached Donald Trump for over Ukraine. He's trying to say congressionally appropriated monies will not go to Israel unless you do what I say. That would be cause for impeachment based on Joe Biden and the Democrats' own definition. But I don't want to digress here. So I actually view Joe Biden's Make My Day tape, which him saying it kind of made my day, as a Hail Mary pass. They're desperate. But it does.
Absolutely. It's a Hail Mary pass. They're desperate. They don't know what else to do at this point. This is their best chance, they think, at this point, of putting this guy head to head with Trump. But I don't understand how they can debate policy. It's a very simple policy. Little boys playing against little girls. Do you want 44% income tax? You want high groceries? Oh, he's going to say, well, it was 9% when I came, inflation was 9% when I came in office. Bull crap. There's nothing he can say but lies. And all the stuff that he stands for, it's been proven at this point the American people don't want. So I don't know what Dementia Joe's going to do. And on top of everything else, I see today when CNBC came out with even more data about how bad the economy is, and then you've got billionaire Mark Cuban posting on Twitter how great things are. These people are completely obtuse. They're completely out of touch. You can't gaslight people who have to go to the grocery store. You can't gaslight people who have to write a check for their mortgage or for rent. You can't gaslight people who are getting slashed and beat up in the streets and having all kinds of things happen to them. I think you guys have seen the video where that one guy threw a belt over this lady's head, dragged her between two cars, and had his way with her. You can't gaslight people who see that. Thank God for Elon Musk. And I think you guys better understand, if it weren't for Elon Musk, most of the stuff that we're seeing and most of the stuff that I'm reporting on and other people are talking about, nobody would see. I have to be so careful here because I can't say certain words. If I say certain words, oh my God, they come down with the black helicopters and want to shut everything down. on Twitter, this stuff is getting out. I didn't post Blinken playing a guitar on this channel because I don't know how they would react. I didn't see one video on YouTube with a woman getting a belt around her neck and being dragged between, a couple cars and what that guy did to her. Didn't see it. Today, a young kid, 18, goes out and spray shoots some cars. Judge lets him walk. Wouldn't even hear about that except for Twitter and the word getting out. That, to me, I believe also is a huge difference from 2020. Everybody got shut down right after or right before the election, and we weren't allowed to talk. Right now, everybody is talking on Twitter and X, everybody, and saying, hey, did you see this? Oh, did you see this? Hey, by the way, did you see this? And they can't stop that. They've tried to go after Elon Musk, but they can't do it. And so more information is coming out all the time, and people are taking pictures of their grocery bill, and they're taking picture of their oil bill for the winter and what they're paying for gas, and they're posting it. They're paying $25 for hamburgers at McDonald's. You can't take a family of 4 out to the movies. And you got Mark Cuban going, oh, it's getting better out there. Out of touch isn't working anymore, Mark. You may have 1 million followers or a gazillion followers, but people think you're an idiot at this point. There's a comment that came in. I'm going to put this up real quick. Hit the button. It said, I don't know how any Supreme Court justice could sit idle watching our country weaponized by the legal system. I don't either. I don't know. I think they can't act until something comes before them. So they can't act, the appellate court can't act until something is adjudicated at a smaller court level. The Jack Smith case is going to be probably the first decision we're going to hear. That may come out before the debates. Can you imagine if that comes out before the debates and presidential immunity is upheld? Or if it comes up where it's not upheld and they're going to proceed, and then it'll be a feather in Biden's cap. So there's so much going on at this point. Let's continue.
One more thing, and then I'll shut up. What the other thing that it does, and for all the people that have been speculating that, come August, come the Democratic National Convention, they're going to push Joe Biden out.
Yeah, he's the nominee.
This locks him in.
Yeah.
He is their guy.
Sean?
And that
you have to wonder if this is like a sacrificial lamb. They know it's too late. Nobody's going to step into this mess that is the Democratic Party, and they're just, hey, we'll go with Joe, and we'll just hope to stop Trump when he gets in with everything else. And one other thing too, and don't forget this. They convict Trump and he gets elected. Don't think for an instance they're not going to try and impeach him and use the impeachment process to then get him out of office. I guarantee you they've got things up their sleeves. These people are not going to lay down. They need this power that they've been grabbing so badly. There's no way they're walking away from what they've tried to build.
So that would be...
Now understand what I just said there. The recorded Barry. Recorded Barry just talked about the impeachment process. So Trump could potentially, just imagine this. Imagine that Trump wins in November, but imagine he gets convicted in New York. The Democrats could then use, if they control the House and the Senate, could then use that to say we're going to impeach him and get rid of him. Don't think for an instant that this would be over and all their lawfare would be done if Trump wins. He has to go in and clean house. He has got to get rid of people. There is no choice. He's going to have to go in and figure out some way to basically clean up Washington. It's going to be extremely difficult. They are going to embed people. You think it was bad this time with all the insurance policies they had? You won't even imagine what kind of bugs they're going to leave in place to take care of Trump if he should be able to win this election in November.
I think the matchup that the country needs, you have two people that have served 4 terms. You get to compare and contrast their records.
And that's the first time in history ever. 2 consecutive presidents running head to head. It's a simple comparison. You can look at what guy A did, and you can look at what guy B did, and you can compare them both. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight on my live show. All right, so let me talk about that since I previewed it. The questions at the debates, all 3, 2, whatever they are, every question should be very easy. They should just go down a list of the top things that Americans are concerned with: economy, safety, foreign policy, down the list. And then say to the two candidates, well, when you were president, this is what the economy was. How are you going to continue that, Donald? Joe, as president, the economy, the Americans feel this. What have you done and how can you fix it? Okay, immigration. Donald, when you were president, here's what the immigration was. And do you plan on continuing doing that? How are you going to make it happen? Joe, your immigration policy, what are you going to do? Because obviously, blah, 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 it hasn't worked. What are you going to do? And just go down the items one by one. You've got 2 consecutive presidents with absolute data in front of you. You don't have to go off script. Just make them defend their policies. I could moderate that debate. Just ask a simple question. Hey, gas was $1.89. I have a picture of it on my Instagram when you were in the office, $1.89. What are you going to do immediately, Donald, to get that back to $1.89? And then shut up and let him talk. All right, Joe, gas right now is average of $3.70 per gallon across the country. It's $7 plus in California. What can be done and what would you like to see done to get those gas prices down, and why haven't you done it? And then just shut up. They don't need to come in with to the debate with anything other than the top 10 issues. You could moderate this debate. Anybody could. All right, groceries. Donald, a dozen eggs cost this much when you were president. Hamburger cost that. How are you going to, and how long will it take you to get that price back to that point? Joe, why are we paying $12, $10 for a dozen eggs? What's the problem and how do we fix it? I think it's a very simple debate. It's probably the simplest debate in presidential history in the United States. You've never had 2 consecutive presidents who can sit there and compare apples to apples with every single thing that the American public wants to know. But they won't do that. Because if they do that, Joe's toast. Joe's absolutely toast. So I don't know how they're going to probably contrive and configure things to try and come up with different topics when they're the same damn topics. The economy is what it is. It's the number one thing. People don't feel like they're making enough money. You got black people leaving and going over to the Trump side. Trump's never going to win the black vote, but he doesn't have to win the black vote. He only has to get a certain percentage. So, question. Donald, you said when you were president that black people, you wanted to ask them what they had to lose. A lot of people seem to be coming your way. What are you going to do for the black community? Joe, what have you done for the black community and how are these people not seeing it? You see what I mean? You guys understand what I'm saying? It's very simple. It's right there, black and white. You don't have to go off script. I don't understand why they would even have a debate without just going down the line items. There's nothing the two of them, either one, can say other than their record. That's what you run on when you're a politician if you have a record. And fortunately, in this election, both of these candidates have a record to run on. So just keep the questions coming according to what you're going to do. I guarantee you they're going to do it with one issue. I don't have any insight. I don't have anybody on the inside, but I guarantee you there's one issue that they will ask Donald Trump what you're going to do about it, and they're going to ask Joe Biden what he's doing about it. You know what that issue is. It's that issue that begins with an A. You know what I'm talking about. They will make sure to bring that up and compare both candidates. Why not compare the other stuff? That's going to go way up CNN's list. That's going to be like one or two. Boom. Hey, what are you going to do about the A? Hey, Donald, you put these judges in place that are taking away from women. Hey, Joe, what are you going to do to help with? Nobody cares about student loans, except that we have to pay them. That'll get fixed because that was just an executive order that he defied the Supreme Court with. That's not a law. All the other stuff is very simple. But I digress. I told you we'd talk about that tonight. So, anyway. Oh, wow. Hey, Eric, this just cracked me up. Hey, you must be in New York. A cheese pizza, cheese pie they call them up north. I'm from Connecticut, so I understand the lingo. A cheese pie is $27 in the New York City suburbs. I wouldn't be eating pizza, that's for sure. Oh, that would be awesome. Dan Bongino should be a judge in the debate. Joe says, Barry, I'll give you all the credit for being able to listen to Biden talk at any time. It's absolute cringe. I can't do it. I do it so you don't have to. that's what I get to. What else we got here? Barry, you can take the votes away with your channel in like 3 months as an independent. I don't get that. Okay, so you guys, we have a country to save. Absolutely. This would be funny. Just basically step away, have Dana White build a cage and just give him some gloves, and you guys just go at it. Just end this. The old Mad Max movies. 2 men enter, 1 man leave. Just do it that way. Throw hands. Let's go throw hands and see what's going on. All right, let's continue so I can get you guys out of here so you can go see Survivor and Amazing Race and the NFL schedule. So be sure to tune in.
Compare it on law and order and safety and security. You compare it on the borders. You compare it on the economy. America abdicating its role on the world stage as the leader of liberty and freedom and surrendering in the war on terror. I'll take that debate every day of the week.
Okay, so we have some other details of this letter that Biden sent and said, I'll do 2 debates. Biden's team has requested that only broadcast networks that hosted Republican primary debates in 2016 and Democratic primary debates in 2020 will be eligible to host this year's events. Only 4 networks, CNN, ABC, Telemundo, and CBS, hosted debates for both. So
now understand, this thing that he's reading went out again as I talked about the choreographing of this announcement. The video dropped. This guy got on ESPN, and then they started sending out press releases to the various networks so that they could read. Hey, here are all our conditions, but Joe never said any of that. So why didn't Joe just say that in the video? You see Trump's videos, he just goes on, he tells you what he has to say. Joe said, hey, I'm going to take you, I'm going to beat you twice, I'm going to beat you again, and you can't come up on Wednesdays, and yeah, pal, or something, and yeah, bye. And that was it. 14 seconds. 14 seconds it took him to say that. And all this other stuff happened afterwards because Joe couldn't say it. So CNN's in there, home team. CBS is in there, home team. ABC, home team. Telemundo, home team. They don't want Fox anywhere near these debates.
Oh, Fox is going to get frozen out of it. He also proposed that the moderator be selected by the broadcast host from their regular personnel with firm time limits for answers and stuff like that. Stuff they've got to negotiate, but nonetheless, Fox will be frozen out of hosting the debate.
That really sucks. That really sucks. What are you afraid of? You expect Trump to go on a liberal network, but you don't expect you to go in front of a conservative network, if you want to call Fox conservative. I mean, but in any event, you're hiding Biden. You're hiding again.
He just commented to Brooke Singman this: the proposed June and early September dates are fully acceptable to me. He told Fox Digital, I'll provide my own transportation. Also told her he's ready to go anytime, anywhere, any place. Just something to keep in mind. The reason why Joe Biden's doing this, the reason why he's doing all these interviews, the reason why he did the massive tariff is because he knows he's losing.
Big time.
And is, in a way, is this a Hail Mary, Sean? Is this a Hail Mary? So I have to, this is it.
He already said it's a Hail Mary. It is 100% a Hail Mary. This is all they have left. They realize at this point that him possibly upstaging Trump at a debate is their only shot. Their only shot.
Brian, you're so accurate here. I mean, look, James Carville said it. Nothing we're throwing at Trump is working. Nothing. and even lawfare. Let's assume a guilty verdict. I mean, and we can get into the trial if you want, but I would assume it. You have an abusively biased judge that should have recused himself. You don't even have a crime that has been defined. You have a New York City jury, which is never going to be favorable to any Republican, conservative, and certainly not anybody with the last name Trump. So where are we here?
That's what I'm thinking. I don't feel good about this entire charade. We saw the other judge throw out this outrageous $454 million fine because he thinks he overvalued Mar-a-Lago, and he put a value on it of only $18 million. I'm in South Florida. I live in Boca. Boca is not Palm Beach. Boca, we've got some nice properties here, and one guy just sold his home on the Intercoastal for $40 million. That house for $40 million is about, that big compared to Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is easily in the hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of value. For this guy to say that property is worth $18 million, all that told me was they were hoping that Letitia James could confiscate it, and then what they were going to do is sell it for hundreds of millions of dollars. If you were going to sell it for hundreds of millions of dollars, because $18 million, people would have been lining up at the courthouse with checks. I mean, I know people, if you said Mar-a-Lago was available for $18 million, I know people who would be at the courthouse at 9:01 when you opened with a $10 million check. I know people who would basically wire that money into the registry of the court and have it waiting. If you think Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million, then we'd have to have a fraud trial because you basically told everybody it was worth $18 million, and then you had bids in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So the entire New York legal system, in my estimation, is completely frigged. It is completely toast. They have basically turned communist in my mind in terms of how they're acting up there.
Arvo was livid. Right. Go back and look at that tape. Play that.
I just played it so you guys could see it. He's absolutely right. He was absolutely livid. He says nothing is working. We got to change, and we need a drastic change.
Tape, and nothing we're doing is working. This now shows how desperate the Biden campaign is. Here's one other huge advantage. The fact that these debates are proposed before early voting, there should never, ever, ever be a presidential debate before the voting starts. Now,
he meant after, because you want the debates before the voting starts. I think he just messed up his words there.
I happen to be against, weeks and weeks and weeks of voting. I think we need, I prefer Election Day be a national holiday. I prefer paper ballots. I prefer voter ID, signature verification, chain of custody control.
I think he meant after voting started.
I prefer partisan observers observing updated voter rolls. But for that to happen, Republicans got to win elections. So this is a great opportunity, I think, for President Trump. And I think Joe Biden, get that Red Bull ready in the White House, because they're going to need jacked up Joe to show up.
As you might imagine, the response on Twitter/X was quick, and it went like you might expect. Let's take a look at some of these responses. So this was Joe Biden's initial post where he threw down the challenge. And I want you to take a look at something. The first comment is his own comment. And what's the first thing he does? So this is Doubleberry, but I'm about to show you something in this video that's really important. So don't get screwed up or seeing two of me here. I haven't cloned myself. This is just me talking over this other video. When I get on stage, it'll be me and this grassroots team versus Donald Trump and his MAGA minions. Again, like I have said before, why is making America great again a slur? How is that bad? I mean, you're president of the United States. Number one, you just made fun of Make America Great Again, which you should be absolutely for. And then secondly, you called us all minions. You just completely demeaned basically half of the country and called us minions. It will be democracy versus authoritarianism. Really? I think I'd love to have that defined at the debate and have you defend what you're doing as not being authoritarianism. I think pretty much you're the one who just overruled the Supreme Court and gave away billions of dollars of student loans. That also, most authoritarians throw their opponents in jail, which is exactly what he's trying to do. And so now in this tweet, he's like, I don't want it. Well, I'll continue. The other Barry will tell you. It's authoritarianism defined. Revenge and retribution versus a vision for our future. Revenge and retribution. You've dragged this man through the mud since the day he came down the escalator. And now you're worried about revenge? You're worried about retribution? You've done so much to the American people, and you're telling us, there's a vision for the future. I want to raise your taxes 44%. You're going to be okay with that. You're going to pay more for groceries. You're going to pay more in rent. You're going to pay more in your mortgages. I'm going to let boys take over women's sports. That's my vision for the future. You can stick that. You can put that where the sun don't shine. And I think a lot of other people felt the same way. So if you look at some of the comments under here, MAGA minions, remember you said you'd be a president for all and then choose to divide? You're an absolute liar, and that he is. And I could go on and on and on. But at this point, I think you guys understand where I'm coming from. I just think I'm worried, I'm concerned that this debate whole thing might just be a plan. They don't do anything above board. They do everything subversively. They try to trick people. They try to bait people. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's getting ugly. Jacqueline Russell says, I want to visit Mar-a-Lago one day. Believe it or not, it's not that hard. Well, you can't go in it without being invited, but it's right there. It's on the intercoastal. It's on the beach side. It's a property that goes in between it. You can see it. You can drive right past it. You can stop along the other side of the road and take a picture of it. It's not hidden. It's right there. You can see how huge this property is. It's absolutely massive. And by the way, anytime you do go there, when you cross the bridge to get onto Palm Beach Island, you're going to see a whole bunch of Trump supporters. They're almost there every single day in terms of being on the corner, basically supporting Donald Trump. So it's right there. Hey, what's up, Navajo? Navajo Nation for Trump 2024. We can never let our guard down for sure. Let me see what else I got here. Barry, you couldn't moderate the debates because you're fair and honest, and it's quite clear that's not allowed. Yeah, like I said, every single one. That's a good idea. Imagine having a debate where each question is brought by somebody they don't want an audience, but somebody from the public. A real question. Hey, listen, we want 10 questions on the economy. We want 10 questions on immigration. We want 10 questions on the A word. And we want you guys, talk about war, foreign policy, and then have the people ask the question. We've lost the ability for these people. Well, Trump talks to people. Biden doesn't talk to anybody. There's no discussion with the public to understand. He doesn't even believe the polls are right. That's how obtuse his team is. They think the polls are fake. These are polls by CNN, New York Times, Siena College. They don't even believe those polls. So, I mean, they're completely out of touch over there. Yeah, I know, Susan, that's never going to happen. I know, it's just wishful thinking that somebody would actually want to hear from the people. They'd be afraid to get tripped up. I'll tell you what. I remember when when Trump was doing his press conferences, back when Sarah Huckabee Sanders was the press secretary, and they would do on Zoom, they would have a TV there, and they would take questions from ordinary people, and they would bring other news groups in to have questions. I remember a guy I follow on Twitter, he and I follow each other, Mike Cernovich. He was able to go to a press conference. Never happened under Biden. Just ain't gonna happen. Micah Vasquez says, I'm not worried about Trump because every time is his time. He'll trash Biden like there's no tomorrow. I think Biden's gonna trash himself. If they do a true debate, I think Biden will trash himself. So that's what I got for you tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. It's just weird what's going on out there. It's scary. I hope it's not a trap. And I just saw something on one of the comments here. People are asking about different we gave away a bunch of different prizes. I have to sort them out because some people who thought they got the sweatshirt actually answered the question for the gift certificate to Buffalo Wild Wings. So I should have that sorted out in the next couple days and get you guys out what you actually won. And I've got a picture I got to show you on Friday's live show. I got a picture from a couple of people who actually won, and it's really fun to see people actually get things that they really want, and that I don't know where he's going to wear it. I hope this guy who's got the red Trump sweatshirt really can wear it without feeling like he's going to get beat over the head or something. But in any event, Erica, you've been on fire there. I can't even say that. You're going to get me in trouble. God's timing, God's army. We gave a place in God's army. Absolutely. So I'm going to leave it at that because that's probably one great comment to end with. Thank you guys for sitting through an hour and a half of me. Looking forward to the debates tomorrow. The cross-examination of Michael Cohen continues, so I'll have a video tomorrow night. I don't know, maybe I'll go live depending on what kind of fireworks explode from the courthouse. Thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you again definitely on Friday, but we'll have